The official title of our presentation is "A Storm Makes You Stronger as a Crack Lets the Light In, Leading and Transforming with Service at the Core." We'd like to dedicate the presentation this morning to the people world over that have been stricken with COVID-19. You'll understand the relevance and support for those individuals and their families as you participate today. Marcia Hunt, past president of Westwood Village Rotary. I'm past district governor of Los Angeles 5280, and we're both mediators and members of both the Rotary Action Group for Peace and Mediators Beyond Borders International. We were invited by your district, 3450, to put together a menu of peace programs for your Rotarians. The one which you will participate in now was inspired by the lyrics of a favorite Canadian musician poet, Leonard Cohen, with an added Rotarian leadership component because all Rotarians are leaders, whether you're a president, a board member, or a member at large. You're a leader in your community when you wear the Service Above Self Rotary pin. I'm going to start my PowerPoint presentation for you now.
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you. A storm makes you stronger as a crack lets the light in, leading and transforming with service of the core. Why that title? Because there will always be storms in our lives. That's life. You can't effectively lead and transform with service until you understand and embrace that the storm can indeed make you stronger. And if you focus on the light that comes in through the crack, it can remind you to find the refuge inside yourself. Then, through connectedness in our club, our work, or our personal lives, we need to look for the light in others, in spite of their imperfections, because, surprise, we all have imperfections. So we need to honor the dignity of all voices, to respect their hearts and souls as well. And why is it so necessary at this period of time to delve within? Because the weirder or stranger or more difficult it gets outside, the more important it is to find our footing inside ourselves. It's a standard principle of psychology, a fundamental teaching for resilience, and also the wisdom traditions concur. We need a refuge within. We learn so much about leadership from fundamental wisdom traditions around the world. Those who are centrally concerned with deep matters of life, like pain and loss, mortality and suffering, they begin with suffering as the first truth we face in life. Of course, that's not all life is in its entirety. We also experience great joy that can bring tears to our eyes. My most memorable experience as a district governor was administering the polio serum drops in the mouth of a 2-month-old baby girl in India. Tears were involuntarily running down my face, tears of joy, knowing that I was part of an organization that saves lives the world over, cares so much about putting not only their money, but equally important, their hands on others to save lives. Yet, realistically, where we begin and end is in the oft suffering of childbirth and death. Even the famous inspirational author, Scott Peck, begins his bestseller, The Road Less Traveled, with the words, "Life is difficult." So what can we do about this fact of life? Well, one way is we can help each other through the hard times by learning from the ancients and others to become more resilient leaders, and then to help create a more just and resilient society. In learning the wisdom from the ancients, a favorite wisdom quote is found in the last words of the Buddha. Things fall apart. Tread the path with care. Wow, that's no lightweight, subtle message. In fact, it's so meaningful that it became the inspiration for our wisdom in the times of crisis, moves us towards societal resilience theme 2 weeks ago for our Sunday weekly societal resilience call, which we've had now for 16 weeks. The calls average 20 to 30 participants from 8 to 10 Rotary clubs, and began at the request of a colleague who knew that I had written my dissertation on stress, anxiety, and depression. We started it during COVID-19. Then, with the horrific murder of George Floyd, the Black man who died at the knee of a white police officer who kept his knee for 8 minutes and 45 seconds on Mr. Floyd's neck while the Black man begged for mercy, gasped for air, and died. After that tragedy, our calls morphed from personal to societal resilience. We chose the wisdom in crisis theme because in these times we are discovering not only the wisdom of the need for a refuge within, but we also need the wisdom that we are all connected. We used to think that we caught diseases as individuals. I'm sick and you're not. But now we acknowledge that we catch diseases as individuals who are part of families, that are part of cities, that are part of states, that are part of nations. We are seeing that our whole species can become infected and that our entire globe can be changed because of our interconnectedness. We all see today that, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic. Yet, it's not just the ancient wisdom of Buddha who urges us to tread the path with care. When I met with my pulmonologist virtually in late February, I have one due to asthma and multiple bouts of pneumonia and bronchitis. I needed to consult with him about travel plans that I had scheduled and if I should cancel. His sage advice was cancel. He told me, at my risk set, by the way, Marcia and I, that's another thing we share, is we're triple risk factors for COVID-19. So he said, treat every person I come in contact with as if they have COVID. Get outdoors daily with a mask and walk. Do yoga because it's good for your lungs, forces you to breathe deeply. But he said, most importantly, learn how to meditate, to calm your body and mind. He didn't realize that I had written my dissertation in part on transcendental meditation and the 2-year study we conducted at UCLA to prove the efficacy of the self-care discipline. Another tread the path with care message that we need as leaders came from my UCLA pulmonologist. Self-care is key, he shared, because 90% of recovery from anyone who suffers COVID-19 will be emotional, mental, and only 10% is physical conditioning. That's amazing. I was so surprised to hear that. Then I was equally surprised 2 weeks ago last Monday when he told me that he thought I had COVID and sent me for a test. I found out just Wednesday the test was negative, but even though negative, he said if I'm not feeling markedly better, he would have me test again because people can be partially asymptomatic or totally. He sent me for a blood panel yesterday and we're awaiting the results. The good news is I do not have any shortness of breath nor chest congestion. Symptoms include intense chills, body aches, low energy. I've altered my work schedule dramatically and is urging continue my sanity enhancing walks as energy and heat permits. Hydrate, eat well, and of course I meditate 2 to 3 times daily. I honestly don't think I have COVID, but I know I have something or wouldn't feel intermittently so lousy. So because 90% of recovery is emotional mental strength and 10% is physical, I urge you to not forget the 2 primary wisdom lessons from today that will help us lead with service at the core. They are finding refuge within and continue to cultivate connectedness, because now is an ideal opportunity to become enlightened and wiser about the other viruses that have been spreading and causing perhaps even greater damage without even being acknowledged. Social and spiritual viruses that spread among us from individual to individual, generation to generation without being named. If we don't name and organize against them, they will continue to spread and cause all kinds of sickness and death. Social and spiritual viruses like racism, white supremacy, human supremacy, and maybe even exclusive Christian supremacy, or any kind of hostility that is spread based on prejudice and fear. We can all wear masks to help protect us from COVID-19, but we need, by comparison, to unmask the other social and spiritual viruses which spread hostility based on prejudice. We must practice our 4-way test to create a system that is indeed fair to all concerned. And perhaps, just as we test ourselves for COVID, we need to do the same for social and spiritual viruses lurking inside us. We all have some. Do you feel creeped out or uncomfortable when you see the dirty homeless guy on the corner? Do you not want to be near someone wearing a hijab? Is it that you don't trust Jews or Muslims? Any one of us or all of us might have asymptomatic COVID. And I know I cringe when I see someone mistreating another. I always have my phone or camera ready to record any incident I witness, especially towards any non-white Caucasian brothers and sisters. I'm ready to post, share, and report. There are so many viruses we could be infected with, and then when I come into your presence, I in some way could inflict this social, spiritual, or any other type of prejudice virus on you, and I make you suffer because of my unfounded fear. Now is an ideal opportunity for us daily to meditate more, pray more, and continue to educate ourselves as much as we can about each other. Racism, any group or groups we dislike or fear. We need to be open-minded with loving hearts and wise enough to be cleansed, not just of a physical virus, but of these other invisible viruses that are such a huge and devastating part of our human history. Allison, if you want to get us ready for the breakout rooms, Marsha will cue you exactly when we're ready for that. And now it's time though, first, don't go to your breakout room yet, because we have more to share with you. Marcia, will you please explain, and I will forward the slides to the dialogue portion of our presentation, honoring the dignity of all voices today.
Well, thank you very much, Vicki. That was wonderful. And we have some dialogue ground rules before we break off. And these have been guidelines that have proven to be very successful in creating an environment for honest and productive dialogue. And that's what we want to adhere. And also, you can go to the next slide, Vicki. Also, I just want to add that
Slow down, Marcia. I've just screwed up technically. Slow down.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Keep going, keep going. I'll get there.
Right. I just want to just to add that we need 2 volunteers in each group, and 1 volunteer will be a timer. We're going to try to, because there'll be like about 9 people in each group, maybe 10, and so we want to have everybody speak. So we'll need a timer to kind of hold everybody at 1 minute, and also we'll need someone who can take notes and report back to the main group about our points that we made, or the most important things that you feel that we talked about. So we'll need the 2 volunteers. And so everyone in the room is an equal. Vicki kind of touched on that. And only 1 person speaks at a time. So please don't start speaking over each other. It's a little more difficult when we're in Zoom to speak over each other, but it sometimes happens. And speak openly and honestly. You're in a safe place, a totally safe place, and you can speak openly and honestly. And listen carefully and respectfully to each person. You may not necessarily agree with them, but you can respect them and listen respectfully. Trust that the facilitator, which will be Vicki and I, have the best interest of the group at heart. And with what anybody says, look for common ground.
Are we going in for 15 minutes, ladies? Is that long enough?
We're going in for 20, I think, aren't we?
That's what you had suggested, Allison.
Okay, it's okay. I'm just.
Okay, go ahead, Marcia. You need to go over the questions. The questions first. They need to know what they're discussing in the group before they join the breakout rooms.
Well, alternatively, you could take the. Alternatively, both of you take the questions in, because we're counting.
Yes, we are as well, but we want them to read them. Some people are visual.
Okay.
And the first one is more of self-examination. What societal or spiritual virus might you have? And everybody has them. You might have feelings of anger that you're carrying around with you about an issue. You may have prejudices, guilt, unconscious bias or conscious bias, remorse about something that weighs you down. The second, what type of refuge or self-care can you practice to lessen your virus or disease? And we all have them. That you have to kind of look inward yourself. And the third is the one that we're going to concentrate on for the purposes of this breakout session, this sample. What can you commit to do to create a greater sense of connectedness in your club, family, or personal life? We want you to have something you can take home, take to your friends, your coworkers, your club. So we'll more concentrate on the third one. Okay. And I think
all right, we'll enter the breakout rooms. We'll lead you through the discussion. And did you set it up for 20 minutes, Allison?
I did do. Have you got this? You need to. We just need to press join now, don't we?
Oh yeah. Okay. Everyone, press join the breakout room, and you'll find out which one you're in, 1 or 2, and then we will lead you from there. And then we will come back, and there will be reporting out. Thank you.
Our group is increasing.
I'd like to go with, who wants to go first, Andy or Ada? Okay, why don't we have ladies go first, okay?
Have a
Ada.
lady first,
Ada.
yeah, okay. Well,
Ada did a wonderful job.
Well, you don't know yet, Vicky, my dear.
Oh,
But
no,
anyway,
no, but I
okay.
do because I could feel your spirit. So please briefly, not taking more than a minute, share
sure.
3 things
Okay.
of interest from your group.
Well, I got I can read my own writing, as you say. I got several points. Okay, first of all, we have 9 people in our group. And one thing that we've been talking about is, you know, there's the need. I won't say whom. Okay, Lawrence, you say, you know, there's a need to open the dialogue between the different parties and stakeholders so that, you know, we can discuss about, you know, why the society being, you know, like splitting apart, etc. And Tom was talking about the social injustice, how we can, you know, like not being suppressed and be more proactive in sharing the others. And then also in Australia, we've been talking about, I know Gab been trying to get the point about the behavior change program, try to promote that to help families to deal with the domestic violence. And then we also share about the part that how we can work harder to, how we can help the society provide more opportunity for the youth and, you know, like so that we can get more helping the youth to get more to move forward. And I talking about because of the life change that been due to COVID-19, I think, you know, a lot of us have more time to think and to be, you know, finding more time to understand each other and the peace, you know, we need to have peace between ourselves and also inclusive of all the others. So
Thank
is
you.
that enough?
Yes, no, that's plenty and that's perfect. I knew you would do a wonderful job. Thank you. Marcia, you want to
Yeah,
call
Andy,
on
are you ready? Have you unmuted yourself?
So no pressure, Andy.
No, not at all. Not at all. Like following Elvis. Yeah, thank you. So our group had a really nice discussion. Alison mentioned that, you know, at the moment it's really good to take opportunities to build interconnectedness and reach out to people. Eugene talked about how, particularly in the design of his programs, he's really thinking about what he can do to improve the connections between different members as you know, as part of the design. Helen said, you know, we really need to embrace this new online environment, you know, whether it's Zoom or whichever other channel, and having a think about perhaps doing some fairly small group random dinners where actually that can be even more effective than having the big group together, especially for deepening relationships. Menza talked a little bit about how important it is to be truly genuine and really empathetic at this time, and I think that's really key. Is that, you know, it's COVID-19. We're all going through tough stuff. It's not about being formal and everything's fine. It's you know it's time to be genuine with each other. And I shared that, you know, right now I think it's a really good time if you are going through stressful times to reach out for help. Talk to people and let people know that, you know, you're feeling a bit down or a bit stressed. Walter said that, you know, it's being open is really the key, and it's, you know, very much, you know, heart and mind as well. So I think that really reflects as well with that genuineness. And Mitzi was talking about getting club meetings. Not just saying, oh, we can't have a club meeting, but actually saying, hey, let's have our club meeting through Zoom. Let's do something like this, and let's see where we can really create value and valuable interactions. I think that was everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. That was great. Mhm.
Okay.
Welcome.
I think one of the main things that we need to take away today is that what the world needs now is societal resilience, and it begins with inner peace. A refuge within helps you lead and transform with service at the core, because inner peace cultivates authentic connectedness to help create the societal resilience that we need in Hong Kong, Macau, Mongolia, Wales, the United States, Australia, wherever we are. Trust me, I know that we all want to get back to the freedom of movement, but we must be wise in this time. We cannot go back to the normal of such racial injustice, social ills with systemic, deep-seated problems. We must keep fighting for what's fair for all of our sisters and brothers. The old normal in many countries was not fair to all. And even though we experience discomfort now with quarantine and social justice protests, let's keep the dream alive of a new normal, one that addresses the weaknesses and problems that weren't addressed in our old normal. And if we're truly wise, we won't go back, we'll go forward to a better, more civilized world for all. Remember the words I shared of Buddha. Yet, Buddha wasn't perfect either. He abandoned his wife and son to wander. Think of anyone that you admire greatly, and if you look deep enough, you will find imperfection, because none of us are perfect. Yet, it doesn't mean we can't strive to be better, more tolerant and loving. But we must work together to overcome racial injustice within our systems. The path to that can be from greater connectedness and peace within. Ultimately, as Rotarian leaders, let's please try to come to peace with the inevitable, that all things fall apart one way or another, and that everything cracks. And yet, is it the truth? Yes, it is. That there is something so beautiful about this part of the truth. And as Leonard Cohen so eloquently says, ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in. Marcia and I thank you so much for joining our storm to make you stronger. And we wish you the peace of the light that the crack lets in. Thank you so much for being with us today. This was only 45 minutes of what we would do as an hour presentation for as many people in your district as care to join. Andy Clark and I and Helen and Mitzi will be coordinating. Marcia and I will be doing, I think, in late September, right, Andy, or early October. We want to allow you enough time to promote it throughout your district. And if any of the items change or there's something more relevant, what Marcia and I wanted to do was address Mitzi's original request to make it topical, poignant, and something for today that we could all take forward.